Hello, Instagram world. We are live. I'm going to see if I can add our guest, Amanda, here. Amanda. Oh, wow. We've got a lot of.
Hello.
Hey, Amanda. What's up?
Oh, just in my car here, just being extra professional.
We've got hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
followers
it's
listening in right. They're flowing in right now. I can't. So I'm sorry if our feed gets frozen,
oh
but we're
no,
good to
I
go.
know I can barely understand you. It's just there's too many people.
Yes. Well, thanks so much for taking some time to chat.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course. We've been doing a couple of these, and we've connected with kind of some loan brokers and some agents and some people in the real estate world. So it'll be cool to chat with you and kind of see what you're out in
Yes,
Dallas, right? So
yes, the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth.
nice. So I'm excited to ask you just a couple questions about real estate in general and see what's going on in your
Sure.
life. And then if you have anything for me, just happy to kind of have some fun and enjoy the half hour we got together.
Yes, no, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
So tell us a little bit about your background. It looks like you're not only a super agent, but also a super mom and super family
Yeah.
oriented person as well. So I want to hear a little bit about that and how you kind of juggle everything.
How do I juggle it all? I am figuring that out still. I guess that's the main answer. But yeah, I feel like I think what's so cool with our job is I like to call my little kids my assistants, and everyone buys it. So everyone is for working with Amanda and my little assistants.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I know you play Sam volleyball. Tana was telling me that. I used to play volleyball. A few kids later, I'm nowhere near any competitive part of myself at all. But I used to play volleyball. That was my first and only job. And then I got into real estate. And I feel like I'm so fortunate that I love it. It was like my first job after I finished playing. I played at the University of Arkansas, and then I played across seas in Denmark, France, and the Philippines. Met my husband in Denmark.
Cool.
Yeah, brought a Viking back to Texas, so he's now a Viking cowboy.
Nice.
Uh, but right after, when I was in the Philippines, I studied to get my real estate license, not really knowing. I got my master's in sports management, thinking I'd be an agent. Decided that wasn't for me, and so I just did real estate, and then it turns out I love it, and I'll do this probably for the rest of my life, which is just I find that like crazy. I don't know.
Cool. So is there, I've got so many questions for you, but do you feel like being an athlete kind of translates into maybe your real estate success or your mindset or your work ethic, or what sort of things there kind of parlay into making you enjoy it so much?
I'm all about teamwork makes the dream work, and I feel like so I just always kind of look for that aspect. And I think in real estate, there's so many assets of team. So, for example, you have title, you have your mortgage person. But even like me and my clients, I feel like it is teamwork makes the dream work. And because it's all about
Yeah.
communication, being honest with each other. And then also, like, I'm so fortunate too with my brokerage that I'm at, Remax Trinity. I'm in this ninjas group that's like a masterminds group every Monday. And that's like we're all a team together. So I think going from being an athlete, of course, you have what I found now that I'm older is the self discipline, the kind of like mental work aspect of it. But I also really thrive on teamwork and winning and that competition aspect of it. And I think you're just kind of always surrounded by people that you can't do it alone. You can try, but it wouldn't be that much fun.
Yeah.
So I know how it translated through.
Yeah, that's such a cool note too. And I really do think that especially when you're in a transaction, there's just so many pieces of the puzzle that also kind of building your team is fun too, right? Like working with the right title
Yeah.
company and the right inspector and appraiser and all that stuff. It's fun to really kind of hone in your team, and then you're kind of bringing that team to your client and saying, hey, let's crush this. We're going to do it together. And I've kind of curated the right steps to make it happen.
Yeah.
Which is so. How do the kiddos correlate to the team? What's their role? What are the assistants?
What isn't their role? Their role is everything.
Open
I mean,
are they at the door greeting people or what?
I mean, I sometimes have to bring them on showings, and so I call them like the carpet inspector.
Perfect.
If there's a playroom, like how is the playroom, you know? No, I mean, they're the teamwork because they make me work so much harder, you know, and they make me so much more efficient. Like, I don't think I could be doing everything I'm doing, obviously, without them, because they're why I'm doing so much. But they truly are so good at making me so dialed in and so efficient because they are my priority. But then it also brings so much joy. Like, for example, this year I've had 4 listings in my neighborhood, which is so cool. Talk about greatness. Yeah. And it just like couldn't get any better because we go on walks every day. And so Penelope and Theodore seeing mommy because my face is on the sign. So them seeing the sign and being like, oh my God, you know, it's so cool.
That's almost better than having them seeing your face on the Jumbotron. They get to see on the for sale sign.
Or like a floating airplane in the sky. That would be next.
That's so cool. How fun.
Yeah.
I have a couple other questions, but is there any sort of transaction that you kind of specialize in? Like, that you kind of have been working on? Like, are you helping new home buyers or investors, or or you do kind of do it all, a little bit of everything?
You know, it's a good question. I've been doing it for 8 years. When I started, I was so young. So I feel like that's when I was kind of working with everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. Randomly, I at least like once a year am helping investors with 1031 exchanges. So like to help the tax deviation. But majority of the people I help are first or second time home buyers. So like, because they're referrals and friends. So yeah, families kind of upsizing.
Yeah.
Or first time home buying, really. So that's probably where I'm mainly at. And then we do have the occasional investors, but probably like 80% of my business is families or first time home buyers.
Fun. So rewarding. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of just kind of real estate questions. Maybe we'll hit some of them. Maybe we'll hit all of them. I don't know, but and feel free if you have any questions for me. Maybe if you're ever out in San Diego, we'll get you back on the volleyball train. We'll run a little co-ed volleyball.
You don't trust me. Embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
So this is kind of a inside scoop, but because I feel like in almost every transaction, there not always, but there's usually like some sort of like little hiccup or little speed bump. And I had a question, like, do you have a certain speed bump that maybe sticks out that you guys had to overcome? It was kind of a learning process, and you guys figured out how to like push through and get to that next step. And you know, maybe for our hundreds of thousands of listeners, we check into someone that might come across that situation in the future, or maybe they have in the past. And does anything come to mind that like, that's kind of a tricky one, but like, what did
you know, it's a good question again. I feel like every transaction, there's always something. I am fortunately totally brainwashed on glass half full. Things always work out. If I just keep telling people and pushing people, somehow things get done. I don't know if this really, because I can't think of anything, you know, because every transaction has something. But honestly, my clients are the ones that are so amazing on like making things happen, jumping through those hurdles that might come their way on whatever it may be. Sure. I would say like the biggest factor of like most transactions in my world is always emotion. It could be the other agent, it can be my clients, it can be the, you know, because it's just, there's so much emotion on any transaction. So I think it's just kind of like managing people from the ledge, whatever that comes up for them, before, middle, end of, whatever it is. It's just kind of like managing the emotions, kind of being with them, holding their hand a little bit.
So what true. Yeah.
What about you, if you have anything that's a hiccup? because I learn from listening. I don't need to experience
Well,
it.
I think, yeah, I can maybe kind of piggyback onto that is like that communication. We had kind of a concurrent transaction where the timeline was really tight and we had to basically, it wasn't contingent on a house closing, but we needed to um, close at a certain time so that we could close on the other house at a certain time. And
Yeah.
things got really tight around some requests for repairs, and um, we were kind of going back and forth, and we kind of thought we had an understanding with, hey, there's not really going to be any requests for repairs here, and then the request for repairs still came in.
Yes.
So I think, yeah.
At 4
So
p.m.
as as they do. So I think just on your note is like really communicating and kind of managing expectations, and also just letting people know like which certain things can happen, even though you set up guidelines and parameters. Like you never really know. You can't control everything, right? So I think maybe that was just one that came to mind, but it ended up working out. We made them both
Works
happen.
It always works out as it should, and it's such a good point too with like managing expectations. I feel like that is so big right now, and like even though I feel like I communicate so much, and I'm sure you're the same, just being an athlete, that I'm always surprised. Like this year, I was surprised when I feel like I talked about it, but I was a listing agent and the buyers wanted to do a final walkthrough, which I don't know. For me, I'm like, of course, I think, of course, they're doing a final walkthrough. And that was the thing that pushed my clients over the edge. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
maybe I missed that.
sure.
I need to really remind myself to remind everyone that could be coming in the beginning, in the middle of the transaction. So I think it is just like managing the expectations on that. And of course, like the current market.
Totally. Totally. There's a lot of checkpoints along the way. Well, that's a good segue into the
The
market.
market.
I'm excited to hear about what's going on in Dallas, because things are fun and interesting and exciting and challenging and in California. But I want to hear like what's going on in Texas. Where is it come from? Where is it going? What's the deal over there?
A lot's coming from you guys. So thanks so much, California. A lot's coming over here. Um, we're in such a unique area in like the DFW area. We're
Hmm.
centrally located in the United States. There's no income tax. So a lot of companies are moving here. So with the interest rates going up like they have, that's slowing down a lot. But it's you can't. I tell like my clients, you can't really watch what you're seeing on the news for the world, like nation, on the real estate market, because here things are still moving. It's not like it was a year or two ago, but we're still moving. We've got all these headquarters moving here, which brings all the families coming, all the workers. McKinney and Frisco area, which is kind of where the Dallas Cowboys moved their headquarters, the Star. That the Plano Legacy West, that has McKinney just approved Universal Studios. So their Universal Studios is building their third park here. And then supposedly Disney acquired some property in Salina, which is just north of it.
Wow,
Um,
big things popping.
big things popping. And like even out there, PGA brought their headquarters and built like a stunning Omni Hotel, 36-hole golf course out in Frisco. You have Boeing headquarters. Goldman Sachs just moved their headquarters to Dallas. You have Fidelity. You have Charles Schwab. There's so much moving here.
Hmm.
We don't have the ocean, our ocean and mountains compared to like California, Florida, New York. Our ocean and mountains, like our location is the DFW airport. And so it's just our market is just so unique because people are still moving here. So people are still needing
Yeah.
homes. And now with the interest rates going up, we're still having really low inventory because now people are like, well, I have a 3.5% interest rate. I don't want to, if I don't have to move, I'm not going to. So now they're holding back. So now, when houses are coming on the market, there's still an urgency for it, if that makes sense. It's very unique, but I'm curious to hear about your market.
I would say in a way it's similar, maybe at least in San Diego, maybe we don't have as we do have like a lot of biotech here, and even I feel like more remote workers or hybrid workers or tech workers are able to live here now, but we don't necessarily have as many like these big Fortune 500 companies moving their headquarters here. But yeah, that similar trend is just like there's not enough inventory for how many people want to buy in San Diego. I think that interest rate, they kind of call it like the golden handcuffs, like people have these 3% interest rates. It's like, why would why would they sell? Because they could also either just like rent out their place and cash flow it, or
Mhm.
like where are they going to go with and have to go pay a higher interest rate. So that's there still is stuff coming up. I don't know for sure, but I feel like these interest rates might create a little bit more inventory with
Mhm.
some.
Yes, they have for us already a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah, and I think some buyers will be staying on the sidelines a little bit to see what happens, but the reality is things are still going quick. Like we just had a listing sell for 85K over ask. It was on the market for 5 days. It was just like it's the right inventory still goes super quick because some people are like, hey, I can afford it and I'm just gonna pay the interest rates as long as I need to, and then figure.
Yes.
Um, so that's kind of what's going on in San Diego, and I don't know. In my opinion, I still think San Diego is like still a little undervalued compared to LA or San Francisco or some of these big markets. We have it all. So I just don't. And so maybe things will soften a little bit price wise, but I don't really see barring like a big recession or something, things really coming down in price that much.
Yeah. Okay. We're the same here. We're the same here.
Yeah.
And that's funny to hear because I think they're talking about next year, summer, maybe the end of summer, the rates going down a little bit to like 5 to 6,
Mm,
maybe whatever. And I'm thinking it's a great time to buy right now when you can maybe negotiate a little bit, or you can see a house 2 times rather than like once and make that decision in like two
for
hours
sure.
you hold on to it, and then hopefully in like we're all praying for it. Like I'm looking as well that in six
Yeah.
months refi, and that's a huge chunk that you could save. And then 5.5% is great. That's a great interest rate.
Very
Super
doable. Yeah. No.
doable. 3.5, they just spoiled us with that. That's wild,
I
wild.
I know.
Or three, or some people are like 2.8 something. You're just like, what? How is it possible?
I
But
know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see, but it sounds like kind of markets are similar.
Yeah.
So I had just like a couple other questions. Do you do any like with our business? We do both real estate sales, but we also do long-term property management, and we also do vacation rental management, which in San Diego has just been great. We've had a couple of really great years of business and growth. Do you do any of that in Dallas, or do you have like a little shout out for anyone that you do refer for property management, or are you strictly real estate sales, or how does that go over there?
I don't do property management. I have agents that I refer to. It's a unique time here though. The short-term rentals like Airbnb, VRBO, those are not liked by a lot of cities.
Mm,
So a lot of cities are fighting that to even be allowed. But I feel like we always need more rentals. I mean, the amount of apartments that have blown up here is incredible,
yeah,
and there's supposedly not enough. But I don't do the property management. I refer it.
yeah.
I say go
That's,
to. That's incredible.
it's a whole nother,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a whole nother. My wife specializes in that side of things, and our team crushes it.
yeah,
But
I'm sure.
yes, I was just curious. That's interesting, and yeah, I know a lot of cities they did that in San Diego too. They had creating a big permitting and lottery system for everything, so they're trying to find the right balance of.
So they're still working on it. I mean, our cities, a lot of them have voted against it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems to be kind of like an ever
Right,
moving and flowing. They're always figuring it out, but
right.
there is a big and in San Diego's always been a short-term market, like especially on the coastal areas. So I think they're trying to find the right balance of what's good for the city and what's good for housing, rental inventory, and all that stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
so my last question is, we kind of already touched on like advice to buyers. Sounds like we're both kind of on the same page of like, hey, this might be a good time to sneak in
Yeah.
if you can happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, do you have any, I don't know, do you just have like a real estate story or kind of like a funny story, anything that pops out, or like some cool buyers or sellers you worked with, or a
I
fun,
don't know. My buyers and sellers are super cool. I feel like I'm so lucky with that.
sure,
I I don't know. I feel like there's like always crazy stuff. And I'm trying to think like a like a crazy situation that again, this is like pulling stuff out of my archives. I can't even,
sure.
but like a year or two ago, I had some buyers and there was a short sale house, or there was a house that had a lien on it, and it was like it was an estate lien. So the homeowner, I think he was in California, was driving a motorcycle and drove the motorcycle off the cliff. Okay, so totally
Oh,
horrible. Well, then the government like seized his property, and they looked in the. This is the agent telling me all this stuff, which typically agents aren't supposed to say this,
right.
but they in his he had a storage unit, and they opened the storage unit, and supposedly there was like a bunch of stuff you shouldn't be having, a
Whoa,
bunch of stuff. So the property was put in like a $5.7 million like estate lien or something crazy. So we had to like go through the IRS for the whole entire transaction. It was such a unique,
wow.
crazy. He had a girlfriend living in the house. It was just a wild experience, but it worked out. We stuck with it. They got a great deal, and it's in a great neighborhood, but that was a first. I mean,
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. What a learning experience.
I don't know. I feel like every transaction you're just like, wait, what? You know, like there's so many.
Totally.
And I was thinking like fortunately I work with my dad as well, and he's been doing this for 20 plus years. And when I first started, again, I was so young and calling and trying to get anything I can. And I had a lady that calls, and she didn't really know much, but she wanted to sell it. It's a family property. So could I help her? There's so much to it. I don't even know what's going on. So then I end up going. It's my first listing appointment. I'm so pumped. My dad's coming with me, and
Yeah.
we the property, and the whole place, you can't sit
Oh,
down. There's human and animal feces, urine everywhere, all over the place. The lady, I don't know how she's living in it. It was one of those things that my dad is standing there like this, and I'm thinking, let's make it happen. Like, this is
you're
crazy.
like,
And then we left. It,
Leslie.
yeah. Oh my God. My dad's like, I don't know what. So it ended up like it was a family property. She couldn't end up selling it. But I just think it's hilarious because I leave and my dad's like, I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and this is your first listing, and I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a great start. Let's keep going. I'm loving the job.
Wow.
Like, it's
That's
yeah. Do you have any crazy stories?
that's a great story.
I always there's crazy stuff.
Yeah, honestly, nothing on that level. Those are really good stories. I think more so, especially in the COVID time, I think it was crazy to just see, like, you'd literally walk into a house, a listing, maybe they're doing an open house, or you brought your clients to a showing, and no joke, there would sometimes be 30, 40 offers on a property within
Oh,
like 24
yeah,
hours.
you're right.
Um,
That's crazy.
which was, yeah, and it's probably the same other, like that was just absolutely wild. And that was kind of in that time when the interest rates were so low and people were trying to figure things out with COVID and everything. But I just don't know if we'll see that for a while, or how that'll shake out. Maybe if interest rates drop, I don't know. But that was just a really, really interesting time out here in San Diego.
Yeah, we had like 64 offers in like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like that was wild. I forgot. See, that stuff you're just like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
It was
wild. Like some of these, a lot of those offers are like, some of them have no contingencies. Some of them have, or, there's, yeah.
a trip to Hawaii, their offer.
What was that?
Like people offered a trip to
Yeah.
Hawaii if they accepted their offer. Uh, Free Keurig for a year. I saw
What?
he
Oh my gosh. Imagine if you own like a Chipotle or something, you could
yeah,
offer free Chipotle for a year. Yeah.
all the so many things that you're like, wow, it's a good idea.
And still see some things that are going no contingencies, or but like there were literally times where it was like 7-day close, no contingencies, like
Yeah.
multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars over ask. So that was a wild time. That was a wild time.
Well, in 7 days, a free temporary lease back for 3 months.
Yeah. 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 So wow.
Crazy.
Well, Amanda, thank you so much. I know I took a good chunk of your time and a couple hours ahead of us, but um yeah, that was awesome. I
Yeah.
wish you the luck. If I don't know if you have any other little things. I know you hit me with a couple questions too, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit, but um that
Well,
was
I mean,
super.
I'll ask one thing. Like, what's your favorite thing about being a realtor or real estate agent? I like to hear what people say.
That's such a great question. There's a couple things. One, I think it's just like on the back end, it's so fun to work with my wife and our team
Mm-hmm.
because it's really cool that we can kind of do it all, like whatever you need. If you want to buy a place, sell a place, if you want to rent it out, if you want to check out vacation rentals, we really have the resource and expertise and the experience to kind of help you however you need. And that's been really fun um, to just develop that and grow our business together and build our team. So that's been really fun. And then just like on the sales side of it, I absolutely love um, helping families, especially young families, like secure that dream, you know. And I have friends and family that are it's like their first time, and it's just an absolute joy because it's so hard to do. It's really hard to do out here, especially in our neighborhood. Oh, and my mom says, and your mom, yeah, mom's part of the team too. So mom and Teresa, shout out. Thanks for being a part of our team. But yeah, helping those younger families too is so fun, and it's really like special and a joy to help them get through that process, which can be stressful and scary, and then finally sink in and be like, oh my gosh, we did it!
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah. I
Um,
I literally just am outside of one of my clients' house that I helped him buy this summer, and he updated it, and it's just so fulfilling. Walking through it, you're like, wow, you're incredible. This is amazing. And they're so happy. It's so cool.
so we had a question come in for
Yeah.
you. You might not know this off the top of your head, but what's the average price of a house in Texas or maybe in Dallas? Is
Yeah.
that
So hard because we have so many cities here. So it really just depends city to city, like
yeah?
DFW airport. So you can be like in Grapevine. Grapevine average sales price I think is like 600 to 700 right now. Then you have Colleyville, average is 1 million. Southlake average is like
Wow.
1.4. Uh, Dallas, it just depends because you have like Highland Park, Preston Hollow. Those are like to even try to get in is like 1.5 million to 2, but probably average like 2 to 3. Lakewood, probably like downtown Dallas, you've got there's so many different pockets. So I would say like I think in Texas if you could you could get a good house like for like 5 to 600,000, but it's not gonna be the old school come to Texas, you get a mansion on an acre for 500,000 unless you go really far west. Like you can go, the thing with Texas is we're flat.
Uh-huh.
So from the DFW airport, our metroplex has grown so much that you can drive 30 minutes north, south, east, or west, and there's a big city. Like you've got Plano and Frisco. You got it's like there's things everywhere. And so if you go a little bit out, like 20 minutes to 30 minutes north, south, east, west of Dallas Fort Worth Airport, you can get really great houses for like 4 to 700,000. And
Yeah.
then in probably closer, probably like six 600 to 800,000. You can get a
Okay.
good house.
Well,
So
that's great.
much more.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's great. Now we've got an ally in Dallas. So if we
Yeah.
have any
I'm
Californians
Dallas. Born and
away,
raised.
we'll connect you for
Yeah.
sure. Well, amazing. Thank you so much again for coming on. Wishing you and the fam happy holidays, and hopefully you get some time to spend with them and enjoy it and eat some food and recover.
Yes.
Um,
Excited.
but yeah, maybe we'll do this again. We'll check in.
Yes. No, it was so great to hear. It's so nice to talk to you and hear about your market that is the same. And this was so much fun. It's the first for me, so I'm excited to do it.
Awesome. All right. Well, Amanda, have a great weekend and Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.